Hey everyone, it's Teresa and I have a really fun video for you today. I'm so excited to share these projects with you. Let's get into them. So this is kind of what I'm starting with. It is a scrap piece of wood and a spindle. The purple on the back of it is because I got it on like a discount at Home Depot. I want to say it was like $8 for some massive piece of wood. I've used a lot of it already. This might be like the last little bits of it. Notice the purple spray paint on the back. I am going to cover it up. The purple spray paint part is going to be the back of this piece. And I am not terribly worried about completely covering it. Not the end of the world if I don't. And this is going to be the front of my piece. I just spritzed it down with some water and kind of added in my plaster colored chalk paint. And now I'm adding some surface wax from Chalk Couture because I am going to be chalking on it. And then I like to heat it up with my heat gun and kind of really work it in to the board. You want your board to be super smooth, super smooth, at least 2 supers. And then I am adding the wax just because I didn't think I got it quite as good as I normally do. I am still in the midst of reorganizing everything in my room, so I don't really know where anything is. So I had to use a regular sanding block as opposed to my orbital sander. I have this Blessed Beyond Measure transfer from Chalk Couture. I will have everything listed that I use on my projects today from Chalk on my link tree down below. But first, what we're going to do, since it is absolutely brand new, I am going to fuzz it pretty decent amount. You want to make sure that you are fuzzing your transfers. Even if you don't have a fuzzing cloth, you can use just a regular towel because it is going to take away some of the stickiness and make sure that you don't basically hurt your transfer. You don't want to stretch it, but also if it is too sticky and you put it down on your board or your whatever you're putting it on, when you pull it off, if you see any teal colored stuff, basically you're seeing the transfer. It's falling, it's coming apart because it's too much stick. If you see that, that meant it was not fuzzed enough. I am taking the color Storm, and that is just a regular chalk paste, and I'm applying it just to the wording, and I will apply it and then take off the excess. And here is our peel. Just comes out so nice. Now I'm going rogue. I am adding those little greenery bits onto my little board. Wait till you see what it's going to be. I'm so excited with this. And I'm going to take the color Eucalyptus and I'm going to do the same thing. And I messed up and I pulled it a little bit. I really should have slowed down and kind of taken my time a little bit more. And I'm using the backer to kind of keep the part that's already had the paste applied to it, so I don't have to wash it in between, doing things. And it turns out pretty good though. I'm pretty excited about it. Now, next I am going to add a spindle. I know what you're thinking. What in the world are you doing with a spindle? You'll see in just a second. I'm so excited. Or you've already seen because you saw the thumbnail, but you know what I mean. I'm going to start drilling some holes in it though. This little spindle is actually going to hang off the bottom of this board, aka a sign/holder for measuring spoons and cups. I have drilled my holes. I just did a little bit of pilot holes and then added just 1 coat of the moss colored chalk paint from Waverly. Now I am taking some DIY white wax. I had a little spot that was still a little wet and I was like, yeah, I'm not waiting for it to dry. I'm going to coat the spindle in the white wax and wipe off some of the excess, quite a bit of the excess. I'm trying just to basically tone down the color of it, kind of mutes it a little bit. And it's going to leave some of that white wax kind of in all of those little crevices to kind of bring out some more of that detail. And you can totally skip doing this if it's not your thing, or you can use my favorite thing in the world, antique wax. Okay, granted, it's not my favorite thing in the world, but you kind of know what I mean. Now what I'm doing is I'm just checking to make sure I got on the ends because you want the entire thing done. Otherwise, the coloring is going to be kind of off. So I drilled 2 holes up in kind of like we'll call it the top. Obviously, it's not the top because it's rounded. And now I'm placing in some eye screws up there, and I'm going to use that to help me attach it to my board. I also have, I believe, 4 or 5 holes on the bottom. Just to warn you, I'll tell you in a minute, I ended up breaking off my little hooks, but that's okay. So once I kind of figure in I'm good with my placement on my little eye hooks, I'm going to just hold it up to the board and kind of mark where I need to do my pilot holes. And this is totally up to you how you want to do this. I felt the pilot holes makes it the easiest. You don't necessarily have to, depending on how strong your little the screw down part of these little eye hooks are. You see, you could just kind of tap them in a little bit. You could tap them in a lot more. If your board is soft, you don't even have to worry about it. You could screw it right into it. The pilot holes help it a lot, in my opinion. So I'm going to do that on both sides, and this is going to have just a little bit of chain to kind of hang from. By a little bit, I mean like literally one link. It depends on your project. You know, if you're doing something much bigger, then I think it could hang a lot more. That little chain right there is actually just from a garden hook. No, not a garden hook. A garden like hanger kind of thing. I got it off of Amazon. You can find them from the Dollar Tree. I actually had one from the Dollar Tree and was going to use that. However, nothing matched. I had like silver eye hooks, those little silver like little eye hole hook screws, eye screw, I don't know, whatever they're all called. I'm gonna have them all in my Amazon storefront if you want to check them out. But anyways, they all didn't match. They were all different color. Like one was brass, one was silver, one was black. So I ended up just ordering them from Amazon. That was a really long story to get to that point. But I have the little chain link that I'm just going to bend out of place, and then I'm going to just bend it back into place. And I've already added my little hooks. Be very careful. They will break off on you really easily. Happened to me twice, but that's okay. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of hardware on the back so I have somewhere to hang it from. You can use these kind of hardware things. I end up adding in some wired twine to kind of string through those two to hang it, and it's going to be so cute. Here it is though. You can kind of see what it started off as and what it ended up. I'm so excited with this. So today is all about this thrift flip road trip. It's fun to say, isn't it? And it is hosted by Theresa from Our Green Acres and the crafting cousins Trish and Kay. And on my little road trip, all of my stuff is actually from Orlando, Florida, which is where I am at. If you are new here, you've never met me before, I'm Theresa, and I would love it if you would consider subscribing. All right, next we're going to do a little sign. This little guy came from the garage sale. Came from a garage sale. Got it for $2. Can't beat it with a stick. I ended up painting it completely in black. This is from Waverly. Yeah, Waverly. I had to think about that. And it is in the color ink. I am going through on the edges. I did it a completely like full coverage on the front, and I'm taking on the edges. I want to give it kind of that distressed look, so I am covering it with the paint, kind of spritzing it with a little bit of water, and wiping some of it off with a baby wipe. It really won't make much difference the way we end up in here in just a few minutes. You'll see it doesn't. This part I could have skipped the whole distressing part because I end up distressing it a different way. Basically, I just add my white paint back onto it, but it's okay. So I cut out a decal on my Cricut. I did it really quick and easy, and I'm using some of their temporary vinyl just in case I decide I want to switch this sign up, and some transfer tape from Easy Vinyl. I think that's the name of it, Easy Vinyl. And I'll list it for you below though. That's my favorite combo. This transfer tape in particular works really nicely with the Cricut vinyl. The Cricut vinyl gives me all kinds of problems when I pair it up with their transfer tape. I don't get it. This is my preference for, you know, the two of them together. They're like a little match made in heaven. So obviously I cut out the words, what's for dinner? This is going to be kind of like a little, not even like a menu board exactly. It's more like where I'm going to put all of our choices for dinner for the week, and then we can pull off a card and kind of use that as, you know, our choices for dinner. That's always a problem in my house. I don't know if it's like that for you. Is it like that for you guys? Tell me in the comments down below if you have the hardest time picking out what's for dinner. So I'm adding some Star Bond adhesive, and this is in the thicker formula, and I'm going to just put that directly onto my little clips and then just spray down onto the board. I thought these were just a cute little addition, and you could do anything. You could do magnets, you could do paper clips, not paper clips, clothespins, anything like that. So here's the moment when I was like, wow, I totally could have just skipped the painting on the sides, but that's okay. I went a lot heavier than I meant to on the first side, so then you know what it is, you just make them all match, right? And then I'll add just a little bit all around the edges on the top, and I was like, well, that's good. We're done. And then I was like, nope, not done. Have to break out the antique wax. I wanted just to kind of tone down the white. It was a little too much, especially on that first side where I went a little crazy. So I'm toning it down a little bit with some of that antique wax. I could have also brushed just some of the ink colored chalk paint on top of it to tone it down, but when in doubt, just add some antique wax to it. So here are the two where it started off and how it ended up looking. And just in case you're interested, I have the template I used for that little card stuff down listed in a Google Drive. So now I've got just this kind of vase. I've DIY'd it before on a different project, but I'm gonna do a quick coat of this matte spray paint, and we're going to use just a little section of this club transfer. This is the actual Chalk Couture Club, or Club Couture for March. So if it's something you love and you really want, you can definitely get your hands on it. I'll list that in the link tree as well. And I am going to use this little section of just this home sweet home kind of thing. It's going to be adorable. So I'm just going to first, of course, position this vase. And I tell you what, I had to use like every little gadget of any kind around me just to see if I could get it to stay still. And I'm going to line it up on this little, I don't know what to call it, a vase, a pit, I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to line it up on this container. I was originally going to keep it all together, but that wasn't going to fit. Now, I will be completely honest with you. This is not my favorite use for the transfers. Having anything that is curved is much harder to do with the Chalk Couture transfers. I made it work because I wanted to use it, and I didn't feel like cutting anything else on my Cricut. I didn't feel like doing anything else. This is kind of what I was feeling. So I'm taking the color Eucalyptus again, and I will tell you also, I definitely left that side on too long. You'll see it in a second. It turns out just fine, but it does dry a little bit in the screen if you don't move quickly enough, or if your jar of paste is getting a little bit on the agier side. Agier? It's not a word, but that's okay. It's a word now. But what you'll see here in a second, I was like really trying to work with it. It was not going to come out straight. So I ended up peeling it off, and you see it's got a little bit of a faded effect. I'm going to make it work, but that is because it sat on there too long. So I'm going to restick it, and really I'm only focusing in on pressing down on the H. And there you see my upwards, very intense look on trying to figure this all out. And there's the peel. That's how it ended up going with it. I decided I'm happy with it. So I am then, shocking, adding some antique wax just to give it that much more distressed look, and it's going to turn out just fine. I will go through the whole thing and add it in pretty heavily. I don't really know if I intended to go this heavy on it, but it's okay. Oh, and also, by the way, I think I forgot to mention, this paint is the Rust-Oleum Chiffon Cream. I just did one coat in it real quick and easy after I did the spray paint. The spray paint just kind of gave it something to hold on to, basically. There we go. Once I'm done with the waxing, I am going to get another little chalk thing coming out. This is one of the newer products, especially if you like paper crafting. This is called chalk suede. Sounds very fancy. It's not really suede. It is supposed to be kind of like paper, but it's got a glossier thing to it. So this way you can, not have the hassle of basically putting a sticker on paper and then trying to take it off. That's sometimes what it feels like if you are trying to use chalk tour stuff on paper. It's much more difficult. So I'm just going to add Home Sweet to this part, and then I'm going to add my little tag onto my container. It's just kind of cute to kind of give it like different, I don't know, like 2 different ways to say home sweet home. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm trying to say here, but I liked the way it looked, so this is kind of the way I decided to go. Now, of course, I can't leave it stark white, so I'm just going to add some antique wax to it and just a little bit on the outsides. I'm trying to then kind of basically like blend it inward some. I didn't want to go too crazy heavy. I have a little bit of restraint with it, not much, but a little bit. Once that is all said and done, I'll just add it to the top, and you can see it's just a little container for my utensils. Super, super cute. I hope that you all loved these projects. They were so fun. I am getting back into the swing of making videos for you, so I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and I will see you next time.